This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This your boy Black Magus, and forgive the mess. It's always like that. I didn't feel like putting up my green screen at the moment. And two, I kind of didn't want to do this. I debated on whether I should do this on camera or just do a vocal recording. I just said, fuck it. Let's just go ahead and do this because it's a subject that I think is very, very important to talk about. And it is also something that is hotly being debated right now by many people. So, inspiration, of course, is sports. Buffalo Bills player had decided to announce that he was not going to be a part of this current season. I forget the young man's name, and I'm going to look it up. I'm being totally... Tre'Davious White of the Buffalo Bills. He opted out of the NFL season, and that caused a lot of backlash, of course. And a lot of players who've been opting out of these sports seasons have gotten backlash for doing so by fans because they feel like they're being, selfish. They don't really care about the sport. They obviously, aren't committed to their jobs, what have you, whatever. And, player fired back like, and I'll try to remember to put the tweet in the description, but he's like, it's crazy that they're saying that me choosing my family's well-being over a game is selfish, and that the fact that you're sitting here telling me that I'm being selfish because you want me on the field to help your team win so you can cheer for, a championship is way more selfish, basically, was what he said. And he was like, his girl's grandfather had passed from COVID. So he needs them to understand, basically. And I'm not saying this word for word, but he's basically saying, could you understand? We've had someone close to us pass from this thing. It's serious. I want to make sure my family's safe. So why are y'all coming at me? And I kind of went off on Twitter with that because I was just like, you see a lot of people saying this stuff about how angry they are at these players and how selfish these players are for not committing themselves and what have you, and not wanting to be on the field and traveling and all that. And it's like, you can't be mad at them because they, are doing that. And one of the things I've seen people really brought up was that, we're not mad that you don't want to play the game. We're just mad that people like you have the options to do so. And I'm like, wait. What do you mean you're mad at him for having the option? It's not his fault that he has the option. Like, I get it. Many of us don't have the option to just sit out and ride this thing out. A lot of us, myself included, are in some really, really fucked up financial situations because of things that have occurred as, a part of this whole deal. I'll get into my personal stuff later, but just from that point, I was just like, you can't be mad at him for being in a position where he's able to do that. It's not his fault. And if he's able to do that and to be able to sit home, take care of his family, and provide for him while being safe, it's not his issue. People like us who have no choice or who are struggling in this, it's not because, we're not as lucky as he. A lot of it is due to the way that this thing has been responded to. I mean, we've been saying it for a while now. This whole situation has been taken care of in the worst way by our administration. They refused to acknowledge the existence of this thing, that it was as deadly and harmful as it was. They kept pushing to keep things quote unquote normal instead of taking the steps to lock down the country for a while, get this situation under control, and then start to slowly, gradually normalize everything so people can go about their lives as best as possible. We weren't put in a great position. And now we're paying for that. The thing is, it's all about the system and how they do things. We in this country are not set up to handle things like this or to support quote unquote regular people because they don't care. They don't really want to. They're not thinking about that. You look at these other countries where they've had, outbreaks. Korea, New Zealand, European countries. All these countries are slowly getting back to normal or normalizing because they went about it correctly. They saw the threat, they shut things down, they got it under control, and they slowly started to pivot towards normalizing to where now they're able to live and thrive in a society with a pandemic. Canada, look at them. The way they're supporting the people financially and things like that to make sure that the economy is still able to go. They did that, providing the health care that people need, making sure people don't have to put themselves at risk in order to be able to live. They gave them a few months of payments to be able to cover as many of their bills as possible so they won't get so far behind. Here, no. They gave us $1,200 once. They're struggling to think about giving us $1,200 again. With $1,200 is someone's rent or mortgage or maybe a couple of bills, car note and insurance, and maybe another bill or two. That's what $1,200 is. $1,200 is a couple of months of groceries for families. You can maybe stretch that out to 3 or 4 months of groceries to feed a family of 4. It's not enough, and they're talking about taking away up to $400 of the extra unemployment that some people who've lost their jobs are getting, and all of that. It's nuts to think that these athletes should be the ones who should bear the burden of anger. When you see an athlete be able to do that and know that he's in a position to where he doesn't have to worry about the things that we're worried about, your immediate thought should be like, why isn't the government making this easier for the rest of us to make decisions like this? Or at least to be able to put ourselves in a position to where we won't have to go for long staying away from work or staying out, where we could just go ahead, take care of this thing, and move on with our lives. Why aren't you mad at them? Why are you fucking mad at players? They are blessed enough to be in a profession, in financial position, where they can do so. It's not a knock on us for not having the same opportunities and things like that. Sometimes, I know with myself, I say this all the time. Sometimes it's just choices that we made that we regret, that we wish we could get back, but we can't. We have to move on. And sometimes you just can't help shit. Currently right now, I remember doing a video a month and a half or 2 ago about how things were going great. I was working independently, doing DoorDash, working enough hours and making enough money to be able to pay my rent, pay my bills, and to, survive through this thing without having to put myself into heavy contact with other people because of my heart disease and things like that. So I wouldn't have to put myself at risk, because when you have things like heart disease and stuff, you are definitely at risk being in constant contact with people. And I was able to find something that not only I didn't have to be in constant contact with people, but I also found that I pretty much enjoyed and was happy, making my own schedule, not having to deal with the regular stresses of work. But that's all fucking changed and blown up because about 2 weeks ago, my car went down. And of course, doing DoorDash, you need your car. Luckily, I have protection, but without being able to drive, my transmission is what's went out, by the way, and it's been a horrible mess getting this fixed. They had to order a part. It took forever, a week and a half for the part to come in. At this point, they're still telling me, yeah, your car is still scheduled to be repaired, bullshitting me with like, hey, this is a hard job and all of that. Um, you know, but that's costing me money. I can't get to work. Even if I had another job, I wouldn't be able to get to work because public transportation is not safe. Um, and most jobs, like my old job where I worked at, it was not a accessible place by public transportation. So, um, you know, I've been sitting here with no money, no ability to pay my rent, to catch up with stuff, and I've already had other hardships come before that with different things. My health, I had a health scare about a month ago that set me back because I couldn't drive. But it was like always in my mind, like with my car, I could always get back out there and make it up. But now without my car, I haven't been able to do anything. So I'm, behind on rent, car notes, not able to go grocery shopping, pay other bills, the stress of getting calls all day about things or calling people. And I just, just now, writing a note to my rental office, begging for time, stuff like that. It's just very stressful, and it's kind of embarrassing because you know how we are. Our pride gets into the mix. Because if you're that person who really cares about stuff like that, you don't want to be in a position, regardless whether it's your fault, circumstances, to where you can't pay your bills. You want to pay your bills. Everybody pretty much wants to be able to pay their bills, and take care of their own. And when you're in this position of helplessness, due to circumstances, that shit's, rough. And, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are finally facing stuff like that due to this virus. And I get the frustration because the Lord knows I'm going through it right now. But I'm not going to sit here and blame somebody else who got their shit together or has been put in a better situation for taking the options that they can to make things as best for them and their family and take care of themselves health-wise and this shit. Because, this shit is not good. Over 150,000 people have died because of the inept reaction of our government to take care of this thing. Many more are going to die. I mean, they're reopening schools. Schools are shutting right back down a day or two later because kids are fucking getting it, even though they're trying to throw the narrative, well, kids don't normally get sick from it, so it's okay, and they're not going to die because they're generally more stronger and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so you've just had a couple of people under the age of 8 die. You just had a handful of kids be tested going back to schools. Get it. Which is going to make things worse because now teachers can't work. Families are going to try to figure out how to deal with this because they can't go to work or they have to make sacrifices to figure out how they're going to take care of their kids when it could have all been taken care of by the government. It's sad. And it's people want to throw the blame all over and give hostility again to these athletes who don't have to worry about going to work if they choose. I gotta tell you, y'all are wrong for that. Your anger should be somewhere else, and it's that stupid anger that people try to throw out. And I know a lot of it isn't real anger. A lot of it is just dumb excuses to try to ignore the fact of what's the reality of the situation. I get that. But people need to express their anger, frustration to where it should be directed. And that's the government. Because again, we've seen governments set up $2,000 a month for 3-4 months for their citizens so they'll be able to have some money to survive. We've seen governments do total lockdowns for weeks. Shit, we've seen a state, New York, pretty much do that and like get that shit under control. Um, you know, but federally, we've seen little to nothing other than denial and ignoring the situation, and if anything, only addressing it to push us towards taking more risks in order to secure the finances of people in higher tax brackets. It's fucking insane. Like shit. I wish this 2 weeks was just me being able to chill with no worries, but this 2 weeks has been disastrous for me. Like, I may not have home. I barely have anything to eat. Um, I may get my car taken back, even if it gets fixed. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen within the next week or two. Like, and that's just scary. And yeah, I'm angry, and I'm upset, and I'm fearful, and all types of things. But none of that is directed towards people who have the opportunity to be able to be at home and only concern themselves about making sure they survive through this physically, Like, yeah, it sucks that a lot of us are going to be struggling with this, just physically, mentally, financially, socially. But just got to direct that anger the right way. And one of the ways we can do that is vote. Get these motherfuckers out of here. Stop letting these people off the hook and trying to be mad at other people. Be mad at the right people for the right reasons. But anyway, so that's generally a personal update and my personal feelings on this whole situation. Right, as of now. You'll probably hear more from me. Anyway, as always, you guys, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll hot you later. It's your boy Blak making it out. Deuces.